Shout out of the week goes to the Twisted Tales podcast.
Twisted Tales podcast.
Yeah.
All right, that kind of sounds fun. I've always been into the sort of unusual.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
I think a lot of our generation is that way just because of scary stories to tell in the dark. That's my theory.
Or are you afraid of the dark?
Are you afraid? You remember that one? Or Goosebumps. Goosebumps was huge.
Hey, Goosebumps was so fucking lame.
It was kind of lame. I remember reading some of the books because you still got that tingly, like, you know.
Yeah, I read them too late. I got locked up in juvie.
Yeah.
So I'm like 15, you know?
And they
they're
had
like,
a million.
I'm like, is there books? And they're like, yeah, bunch of Goosebumps.
A bunch of Goosebumps.
And I'm like, okay, that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while there'd be like an adult book.
Because they had a bunch of Goosebumps everywhere. They had a bunch of Anne Rice everywhere, and then they had a bunch of what? Do you remember that series where people would like transform?
Animorphs.
Animorphs.
That's so stupid.
Those were everywhere.
Jesus
On
Christ.
every shelf across America, you could find one copy of an Animorphs book, with Goosebumps somewhere.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
So what is this podcast about? Did you listen to them?
Yeah. So, fuck. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
I'm not.
So anyway,
Fuck yourselves.
the Twisted Tales podcast is labeled as true crime, and they're like doing. It's not always true crime. The episode I listened to was like probably like fucking 12 minutes long. He said, "Hey, it's a short one, guys." He said, "Still an episode." It was a good episode.
Yeah.
So this guy goes through he's like objectively explaining all the information that he got about it, and like cracking some dry jokes.
Yeah. Okay.
You know? So like at one point, so he's talking about these trees in Saskatchewan, or however the fuck you say that.
Yeah.
And he's like, they're all twisty in this one grove, and then the grove is surrounded, I think, on two sides by streets, and then beyond the streets, they're not twisty anymore. And all these trees in this grove just keep growing and twisting. And so he like starts explaining why biologists thinks it happens, and then he's like, other people think it's haunted, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then like so he goes through everything that could possibly be about this fucking grove of trees. That's pretty cool. He was like, rumor has it there's a lawyer buried there, which is fitting because it's all crooked, you know. Lawyers tend to be crooked or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
That is dry. I could see that.
Yeah. So it's good.
Was it Sacagawea?
No, Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan.
Yeah, Sacagawea was some Native American lady.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
I
I
believe
kind of
so.
remember that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a place for a minute.
Yeah.
Sacagawea.
Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so anyway, shout out to the Twisted Trees podcast. I liked his episode. This dude's fucking cool.
Twisted Trees podcast.
Sorry, not the Twisted Trees. But the trees were twisted. Are you getting what I'm saying here?
No, I totally do.
Shout out to the.
I'm keeping up.
Shout out to the podcast that the Twisted Tales podcast did about the twisted trees. There we go.
All right.
All right. So, moving on.